Hey, this is Earl Purdy, getting ready to do the Way of Mastery, the Way of Mastery. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live because we're going to go deep and deep into practical application of ways to allow ourselves to have peace and joy and love. Oh my, peace and joy and love. Forgiveness, peace, and love, and joy. That's what we're going to do. We're going to hear from the Way of Mastery. We're going to go in the Way of Mastery, the Way of Mastery. And in the Way of Mastery, we are going to see if we can hear what will bring us everything that we want in our hearts. So we're going to be on page 33. We're going to be on page 33. How forgiveness heals. And we're not talking about forgiveness in the normal way we think it, we usually have been taught to think of forgiveness, which is overlooking what you think someone has done to you. We're using the Way of Mastery's definition of forgiveness, and we're going to get into that. I'm Earl Purdy. Welcome, my mighty companions. Welcome to Facebook Live. And we are going to do the Way of Mastery. And the section we're going to do is how forgiveness heals. Now remember, you need not believe the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. And some of the ideas may seem to be quite startling. Some of the ideas may seem to be quite startling. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. We're not here to analyze the ideas. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. We're going to be on how forgiveness heals on page 33, lesson 3, the power of forgiveness in the Way of Mastery. The section is how forgiveness heals. It's on page 33. How forgiveness heals. So I'm going to read through it and then we're going to go through it. So let's get it. How forgiveness heals. Understanding these things, let us look more closely at forgiveness. Let us look more closely at forgiveness. How does forgiveness work? How does forgiveness work? How does forgiveness work? What really occurs when you forgive? What really happens when you forgive? You are a conduit of energy. I say you are a conduit of energy. To the degree that the conduit is in perfect working order, The energy can flow so radiantly that the conduit actually becomes transparent. To the degree that the conduit is working perfectly, in perfect order, your energy can flow so radiantly that the conduit actually becomes transparent. That is, the conduit, you, no longer blocks. In other words, there is no barrier or limit to the light. There is no barrier or limit to the light. When you judge, what happens when you judge? What happens when you judge? When you judge, it is as though you contracted and made the walls of the conduit smaller, just like building up rust in your pipes, and the flow becomes less and less. As you forgive judgments, it is as though the rust in the pipes is dissolving. It is as though the walls of the pipe that are carrying the liquid of God's love begins to expand and become thinner and more transparent. Now listen to me. Judgment is contraction. Judgment is contraction. Judgment is contraction. Judgment is contraction. Forgiveness is relaxation, peace, trust, and faith. Judgment is contraction. Judgment is contraction. Forgiveness is relaxation, peace, trust, and faith. Peace, trust, and faith. Forgiveness allows the spaciousness within your consciousness to grow. For when you I want you to take a breath. Or when you look upon the thief that has broken into your home and say, I forgive you, you are decreeing the opposite of what you've learned. You are decreeing that nothing can be taken from you of any value. You are decreeing that judgment is the opposite of what you want, and it will cause you to feel the opposite of how you want to feel. Listen to me now. You are decreeing your power to perceive differently. Decree your power to perceive differently. You are therefore healing yourself. When you forgive, you're therefore healing yourself. If you ever want to come home, you're going to have to become very, very divinely selfish. So how do you become very, very divinely selfish? How do you become very, very divinely selfish? You're going to have to become so selfish that you won't tolerate judgment in yourself. Become so selfish that you won't tolerate judgment in anyone or anything. Become divinely selfish. Care so much about yourself that you won't even do things that hurt you. Because you will begin to recognize that every act of grievance, every act of unforgiveness catapults you to the other side of the universe from where you want to be. Judgment causes your very cellular structure to break down. And if you could see how judgment breaks down your cells, you would never judge again. When you judge, even the cells of your body go crazy when you judge. The cells in your body go crazy when you judge. The cells in your body go crazy when you judge. Your cells will vibrate in a completely dissonant way whenever you judge. Your cells go crazy. There is contraction when you don't forgive. There is a deep contraction when you don't forgive. The fluids do not move through your cells when you're full of grievances. The nutrients in your cells do not become transported. The nutrients in your blood do not become transported or delivered to the cells when you are full of grievances. The waste matter is not processed properly when you are full of grievances and you don't forgive. Everything gets clogged up when you don't forgive. Everything gets clogged up when you don't forgive. And there is disease when you don't forgive. Therefore, beloved friends, I want you to understand well that judgment is not something to take lightly. 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 Judgment, judgment, judgment. Judgment is not something to take lightly. Should you then judge yourself? Should you judge yourself? Should you judge yourself? Should you judge yourself? Should you judge yourself? Whoo! If you have noticed you have been in judgment, should you judge yourself about judging? Should you judge yourself about judging? No, don't judge yourself about judging. Stop judging 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 yourself about judgment. Because that is a judgment in itself. Only love can heal. Only love can heal. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Are you listening? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Are you listening, mighty companions? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Only love can heal. Only love can heal. Therefore, when you know you have judged, 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 simply say, when you know you have judged, simply say, when you know you have judged, simply say. What should you say when you know you've judged? Ah, yes, that is that energy. When you judge, go, oh yes, that is that energy. I recognize that cloud that has just passed, that cloud of judgment through the field of my awareness, but I can choose again. Say yourself now, I can choose again. Say it, I can choose again. I can choose again. Do you know, mighty companions? Do you know that you can choose again? You can choose again. So how does this work? How does this work? How does this work? How does this work? Well, if in your ordinary daily life, that we now know is not ordinary at all, when you detect that you've been in judgment, when you detect that you've been in judgment of someone or something, recognize that judgment is with you. That judgment is a present thing. It doesn't matter if you judged 5 minutes ago, 55 years ago, or 10 lifetimes ago. When you notice judgment, when you notice you are judging, bring awareness to it. Become aware that you are judging. When you notice you are judging, bring awareness to it. You have made it a very present thing. So it is right here. The judgment is right here in front of you to be undone. If you're judging, the judgment is right here to be undone. And that is what you need to focus on. So what is it you need to focus on? What is it you need to focus on? What is it you need to focus on? I am going to choose again. Say it to yourself. I am going to choose again. That's what you have to do. I am going to choose again. You are going to choose again. Say, I am going to choose again. When you've judged and you know you've judged, bring awareness to the judgment and say, I am going to choose again. I'm going to choose again. Do you know the experience of looking back in your life and suddenly seeing a scene in which now you know you behaved very selfishly? Have you ever looked back and thought about a time you behaved really, really selfishly from your ego? Sometimes when you're on the spiritual path, you'll look back and you'll see that there was a time in your past that you were very manipulative or cunning or hurtful. Or you could look back and you could recognize, my God, I was really in judgment of that person. I was really in judgment of that person. Oh, if I could only go back and undo it. Have you ever done something in the past that was really crappy to somebody, and you look back now and you go, I wish I could go back and undo it. I wish I could go back and undo it. Do you know that feeling? Do you know that feeling? When you look back on your past and you see where you were in your ego and you did something really, really cunning and manipulative and just something that just wasn't cool. Do you know that feeling? Well, I say unto you, you can, because everything is present. 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 There is no such thing as past and future. There's no such thing as past and future. There's no such thing as the past and future. Why? Because there is only now. There is only right 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 now. So when you have that thought of something you've done in the past, when you have that memory of something you've done in the past, if you remember something you did to somebody back in the past that wasn't too cool, it's coming to you for a very specific reason. If you are thinking about something that you did in the past that wasn't very loving, that memory, that thought is coming to you for a very specific reason. As a soul, do you know that you're learning about forgiveness? You're learning about forgiveness. You're learning how to undo the effects of all your previous choices. So when you learn forgiveness, what you are doing is you're learning to undo all of the effects, all of the results of your previous choices. And so it's being presented to you yet again so that you can make a new choice. When an old memory comes up, when you know you were in your ego and you just were not cool, you were not loving at all, I want you to look at that. Look at it. Look at that memory when you did something in the past that maybe you feel ashamed of now. Look at it. And I want you to recognize how judgment worked at that time. Do you know what I mean? In other words, I want you to say, like, if you have a memory of that person, if you're remembering that person, or you remembering that event, this is what I want you to say. This is what the Way of Mastery wants you to say. If you are thinking about an old memory of when you were not very loving and maybe you think you hurt someone, or you acted in a way that you know that you wish you had not acted. Let me plug this. It always runs out of juice right when I'm doing the class, even though I think I have charged it. So it's interesting. Let me get this up because I want to be able to see you and see what you are saying. Okay, this is what I want you to say. I judge you not. Think about that person. Say, I judge you not. Take this time to actually do what it's saying. This is a perfect time to actually practice what this is saying. And think of that person and say, I judge you not. I judge you not. I judge you not. I judge you not. I want to make sure I get this up. I judge you not. Say that. Think about that person and say, I judge you not. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I've created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. You extend forgiveness to yourself for what you have created. Let's go. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I embrace you and I love you. 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 I free you to be yourself. 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 I bless you with the blessing of Christ. I bless you with the blessing of Christ. That's the same as saying, 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 I bless you with the blessing of love. I bless you with the blessing of love. I bless you with the blessing of love. What? I bless you with the blessing of love. But that's the Christ. I bless you with the blessing of love. Let's say it again. I judge you not. I judge you not. Think of that person that you judged in the past, someone you may have mistreated in the past, and say, I judge you not. I judge you not. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. I extend forgiveness to myself for what I have created. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Then you say, I embrace you and I love you. 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 I free you to be yourself. 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 I bless you with the blessing of Christ. I bless you with the blessing of Christ. I bless you with the blessing of Christ. That means I bless you with the blessing of love. Say it to that person. Say it to that person. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Your willingness to even try this is a blessing. Your willingness to even do this is a miracle. So say, I bless you with the blessing of Christ. 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 Then what do you do next? The thing you do next is you see that image. You see that memory. See that memory. See that image begin to gently dissolve into light. Let that image, let that memory gently dissolve into light until there is no trace of that memory left, and be done with it. Be done with it. Don't bring it up anymore to crucify yourself. Be done with it. right away the man says, but when I kicked that little boy in the shins when I was 4 years old just to watch him scream, that little boy isn't here, isn't he? Maybe that person's body isn't here, but the body is not quite the soul. The body is not quite the soul. Do you know all minds are joined? Do you know that all minds are joined? Mighty companions, Diana, Kim, Michelle, Deborah, Bridget, Jim, CJ, Greta, everybody else on the line, Demola. Do you know that our minds are joined? Do you know all minds are joined? That means that when you extend forgiveness within the consciousness, within your emotional field of another, whether they be physically present or not, you are actually extending to that person exactly what you would extend to that person if that person was physically in front of you. So even if that person isn't physically in front of you, then you are still extending that forgiveness and that love to them. And even if they were in front of you, they still have to receive it. Even if they were in front of you, they still have their choice to make whether or not they are going to accept your forgiveness or whether they're going to still judge you. But that would be their issue. It wouldn't be your issue. If you're willing to forgive, then from that point on, it is not your issue anymore. If they don't want to accept the forgiveness, if they don't want to respond in a forgiving way, then that is their issue. That is not your issue because you've been willing to extend forgiveness. And that's all you can do. Understand then that what you're dealing with, do you know that you're dealing with consciousness? That we are dealing with consciousness? We are dealing with consciousness. That means you are not a physical being. 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 You are spirit. You are spirit. You are not a physical being. You are spirit. You are spirit. You are not a physical being. You are spirit. You are not a physical being. You are spirit. And do you know that you are intimately linked with all minds? Our minds are linked. All of us mighty companions, our minds are linked. And our minds are linked at all times. Do you know your mind is linked with mine? And do you know my mind is linked with your mind? You are intimately linked with all minds. You are intimately linked with every mind all the time. You are linked with every mind all the time. You are linked with every mind all the time. You are linked with every mind all the time. You are linked with every mind all the time. You are linked with every mind all the time. You are linked with every mind all the time. So you can forgive another anytime that you decide. Forgiveness of another can occur anytime that you decide it can occur. Forgiveness of someone looking past the past can happen with anyone at any time. Anyone you have ever believed has wronged you can be forgiven by you in this very moment. To forgive them means that you are going to correctly perceive that whatever happened in the past was a call for love. It was a call for help. It was a call for healing. So you can forgive, which is to release. You can do that at any time, in any moment. I can forgive and release anyone at any time, in any moment, whether they are present or not. I can let it go so that it no longer hurts me. You see, I'm going to be divinely selfish. I'm going to care so much about Earl that I'm not going to hold thoughts that hurt me. I'm not going to keep thinking things that hurt me. Anytime you have judged another, do you know you've been in judgment of yourself? Whenever you have judged someone else, you have been in judgment of yourself. And you can undo it. You can undo all judgment right now in this moment simply by making a different choice. Please, it's time to make a different choice. You can make a different choice. You can make a different choice. You can make a different choice. Kim says, I like knowing that I'm linked with you guys. And Bridget says, mind and brain are different. we are joined by mind. That is correct, Bridget. I agree with you. Pamela says we can forgive anytime. Michelle says, my beautiful reflection. Demola says, we are not bodies, we are spirit, even though we have bodies. Jim says, I am not a physical being, I am pure spirit, undefiled and unaffected by anything or anyone. Diana says it was a call for love. Pamela says a call for help, healing. Demola says it's time to make a different choice. Michelle says, I am not going to keep holding thoughts that hurt me. I'm going to make a different choice. And Pamela says, it can be undone. It can be undone. Diana says, anytime I've judged someone else, I have judged myself. Pamela says, a different choice. Kim says, judge not, lest I am judged. Quana says, judgment holds a sword to yourself. I'm so glad that I have you in my life, mighty companions. This is more than a class. This is more than a class. This is us having the opportunity to join with each other. And joining with each other, that's where the healing occurs. When we join with each other, that's where the healing occurs. Reactivity indicates the need for self-forgiveness. It's the next section, right? Reactivity indicates the need for self-forgiveness on page 35. That's right, Quana. We are blessed to have each other. Latricia, we are blessed to have each other. This is more than a class. We are mighty companions coming together. It is such a blessing and such an honor to have you all. And I want to thank you because I know you have other things you could be doing other than tuning into this Facebook Live presentation by me, Earl Purdy. I know you could just watch the replay later, and that would be a wonderful thing to listen to it over and over. But there's also something about me doing this right now, knowing that you all are right here with me, that we are with each other in real time, no matter where our bodies are. And that goes for everybody that's online, even those that are just watching and not making comments. But please share this video. Please share this video. Reactivity, if you're a very reactive person, then that means you have a need to forgive yourself. If you're always defensive and always reacting in a defensive way, it means you have some grievances towards yourself that needs to be handled. Obviously, this is something that we needed to hear again because I think this is something that I covered recently. But even if it is, that's okay. We need to hear it again. We need to hear it again. So let's hear it again. It's no accident. It goes like this. Rest assured that you will continue to project upon others what remains unhealed in you. You're going to continue to project upon others what is unhealed in you. Anything that you haven't forgiven in yourself, that's what you're going to project upon everybody else. That means each time you react to another, every time you react to another person, you are being given a sign that there is some kind of energy that has been presented to your awareness that you have not forgiven within yourself. Every time you react to somebody, whatever that reaction is, it's your way of knowing that you have not forgiven that same energy in yourself. Whatever it is about another person that you haven't forgiven, it's what you haven't forgiven in yourself. What you haven't forgiven in someone else is something that you haven't forgiven in yourself. So that means if somebody is critical and you react every time that they are critical, then rest assured that the critical part of yourself hasn't been healed. That means that part of your experience of being critical to others has been returned to you. Yeah, I remember this. It was not too long ago that we did this. But evidently Spirit wants us to do it again because I did a random number generator to see what we needed to talk about, and ask Spirit to use that. And this was what came up. So obviously, Spirit wants us to hear this again. So let's hear it again. So now, whether it's occurring now or whether it seems to be a pattern that you have interrupted and no longer do, even if it seems like it's a pattern that you don't have as bad as you used to have in the past, if you react to it, you have still not forgiven yourself for having identified with that energy. Whatever you can't forgive in someone else is what you have not released in yourself. So I want you to use your ordinary experience in each day. And I want you to observe what pushes your buttons. I want you to pay attention to what pushes your buttons. Pay attention to what triggers you. All day long, what triggers you? All day long, what triggers you? Pay attention to what triggers you all day long. What pushes your buttons? What pushes your buttons? We will give you a very simple technique for doing what I'm talking about. So if you will stay with this technique, do you know that this technique that I'm about to give you, this technique will reveal to you the energies that are in need of your forgiveness. This technique will reveal to you what it is in you that needs to be forgiven. Now, it's a very simple technique. So are you ready to hear this very simple technique? This is what I want you to do. As you go through your day, I want you to observe when you feel like you're going through some type of as you go through your day, I want you to observe when you feel like you're going through some type of fear or contraction. Pay attention every time you feel a contraction. Pay attention every time you feel a contraction. So then you ask yourself, are the muscles of your body tight? Is your breath really shallow? Does your voice get faster or louder when you speak about some energy to someone else? That's a sign that you need to do some healing within yourself if you're walking around pretty much upset, angry about one thing or another all day, and you're feeling defensive and contracted and closed off, then that means you have to do some healing within yourself. If you're not happy, you need to do some healing within yourself. Past horrible scenes, what the way of mastery and all these books say that you are responsible, it means you're responsible for how you express yourself. You're responsible for how you see things. You're responsible for how you feel. You're responsible for what you focus on. You're not responsible for every physical thing that's happening in the world. That idea of being responsible has nothing to do with you're the one that made somebody get cancer and you're responsible for that. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about you are responsible for how you see, what you see, how you express yourself. And maybe at some greater metaphysical level beyond what we see, our soul could be literally creating the physical things that are happening. And I believe that. But then that's just the one self, which means everybody's equally responsible for whatever's being created. But this is talking about forgiveness. This is talking about what you should do when you feel contraction, because that's a sign that you need some healing inside yourself. So when you recognize that you're feeling uptight and you're feeling contracted, in other words, life has presented you with an opportunity to be disturbed. When life presents you with an opportunity to be disturbed, during the day, sometimes life presents you with an opportunity to be disturbed. So when you are disturbed, what does that mean when you are disturbed? When you are disturbed, it is a sign that there is something that requires healing. When you are disturbed. When you are disturbed, it means that there is something that requires healing. If you are disturbed about something right now, it's a sign that there is something that requires healing. So therefore, do what? Count it a blessing if you feel disturbed. Count it a blessing if you feel disturbed about something right now, if you feel disturbed right now, it is a blessing. If you feel disturbed about something right now, it is a blessing. Do you know that if you feel disturbed right now about something, it is a blessing? So here is the healing exercise. Turn your awareness from what you think is causing your disturbance. Turn your awareness away from the thing that you think is upsetting you. Stop focusing on the thing that you think is upsetting you. And I want you to remember this first axiom. If you feel disturbed, turn your attention away from the thing that you think is disturbing you. Because like A Course in Miracles says, you're never upset for the reason you think. Tell yourself, I am the source of my experience. I am the source of my experience. I am the source of my experience. Say that to yourself. Are you ready? Let's do it. I am the source of my experience. I am the source of my experience. I am the source of my experience. I am feeling disturbed. I am feeling disturbed. I am feeling disturbed. Say it. I am feeling disturbed. I am the source of my experience. I am feeling disturbed. You are the source of your experience. You are feeling disturbed. Then say, what is it in me that needs to be healed? What is it in me that needs to be healed? What is it in me that needs to be healed? Take a breath and go, what is it in me that needs to be healed? What is it in me that needs to be healed? What is it in me that needs to be healed? What is it in you that needs to be healed? Now begin to breathe deeply. Begin to breathe deeply and rhythmically. Begin to breathe deeply and rhythmically. Rhythm. Begin to breathe deeply and with rhythm. Let the body soften and relax. Let the body soften and relax. Let your body soften. Let your body relax and ask this. What is it that you need to ask? After you let your body soften and relax, what is it that you need to ask? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that's really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? When you're upset, when you're making yourself feel upset and disturbed by a person, go, what is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that's really causing my reaction? What's really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? You will see it right away. Oh, they are critical. Criticism pushes my buttons. Oh, I see them as selfish. Selfishness pushes my buttons. I'm seeing them as jealous. Jealousy pushes my buttons. I'm seeing them as stingy and mean. That pushes my buttons. Then ask yourself, when have I done that to another? When have I acted exactly like this? Whatever is upsetting me in the other person, I need to ask myself, what is it about this person that's really causing this reaction that I'm having? Oh, I know what it is. The thing that's upsetting me about them is the thing that is upsetting me about me. That's what's really happening. So where have I been critical of others? Where have I had this attitude that I'm upset about in the other person? When was it that I cut somebody off in traffic? Whatever I'm upset about in another person, that's something that's unforgiven within myself. So whatever you're upset with another person about, that's what you have done within yourself that needs to be released within yourself. It might hit you right away. Well, I am being critical because they're critical. I am being upset because they're upset. Or you might have some memories, and these memories will come back. Sometimes they're distasteful memories if you're judging them. Let the memories come back. Let the memories come back. Continue to breathe. Continue to relax. And look at whatever that energy is that has upset you about the other person. And let's say criticism, for instance. Look upon that energy of being critical. And what do? You honor that energy. You love that energy. Even the energy of being critical, even the energy of being angry, even the energy of being jealous. It's a creation. It's your creation, something that you've made coming back to you, so that you can embrace it and transform it. Your own past feelings, emotions, and beliefs are coming back to you so that you can embrace feelings and emotions that you have had in the past. Things that you've done in the past that were not always so loving. It's coming back to you so that you can transform it and you can embrace it. Just stay with the feeling. Just stay with the feeling. Don't judge yourself for having the feeling. Just stay with the feeling. Just stay with the feeling. Don't judge yourself for having the feeling. Just stay with the feeling. Just stay with the feeling. Don't judge yourself for having the anger, the guilt, the grievances, the jealousy, whatever the disturbing energy that you see in someone else. Then just know that that energy is also in you if you feel upset about it. So you just stay with it and honor it, because it's energy that you put out in the past that's coming back to you to be transformed and to be blessed. So just stay with it. Just stay with it. Just look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, this is being critical. Yeah, I can be critical. I can definitely be critical. I've been critical before. Oh yeah, angry. Oh, they're angry. Oh, I've been angry. Oh, they're being rude. Oh, there's been times in the past that I've been rude. I've been that way in the past. You see only 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 the past. It's your past, whether in this life or another, that's coming back to you so that you can honor it, bless it, and transform it. And you do it by just looking at it and being with it and reminding yourself that, yeah, it's possible that you've been that same way yourself, that you know that energy and you know that energy very well. I want you to look at the scene in your memory in which you've been the one that's been critical, for example. Look at the time in the past that you've been the one that's been critical, for example. And then look upon it. Look upon that feeling that you yourself have expressed in the past and look at it. Look at it with deep honesty. Look at that feeling with sincerity. And then say to yourself, say to yourself, I forgive myself for being critical. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. Or you could say, I forgive me for being angry. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. I forgive myself for being judgmental. In other words, just fill in the blank. Whatever the feeling is that's a disturbing feeling that you're seeing in someone else, that's right, Demola. If you see someone as being manipulative, then tell yourself, I forgive me for being manipulative. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. I choose to teach only love. I forgive myself for being critical. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. I forgive me for being critical or upset or angry or selfish or whatever I've done in the past. I forgive me for being critical. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. Say what? I choose to teach only love. You forgive yourself for being critical or whatever, and you forgive your judgment of yourself. You choose to teach only love. And then what do you do next? You watch that image dissolve and disappear from your mind. Bring your awareness back to the present moment, and bring your awareness back to that person who has just pushed your button. Again, you don't need to say anything outwardly to that person at all. Although you might decide to talk to that person, you don't have to talk to that person. But within yourself, inside of yourself, forgive them for allowing the energy of being critical, for example, to temporarily make a home in their mind. In other words, ask the Holy Spirit to replace your perception with the truth. Ask your loving right mind, that's the Holy Spirit, to replace your perception with the truth. Replace my perception with the truth. Replace my perception with the truth. Replace my perception with the truth. Holy Spirit, replace my perception with the truth. Holy Spirit, replace my perception with the truth. And ask to see the innocent light within them. Let's do it together. I ask to see the innocent light within them. I ask to see the innocent light within them. I ask to see the innocent light within that person that I have seen something that disturbs me in. Ask to see the innocent light within that person. And as you cultivate this, you're going to become really, really good at it. As you cultivate it, you're going to become really, 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 really good at it. You're going to get to the point that you can forgive as fast as you can snap your fingers, that you're not going to want to hang on to anything that causes you pain. And so you're going to forgive and release as quickly as it takes you to snap your fingers one day. And once again, you're going to begin to see the light in that person. You're going to begin to see the truth and the love and the innocence in that person. One day you will forgive as fast as you snap your fingers, because you will love yourself so much that you will not want to give yourself the pain and the disease and the lack that comes from holding grievances. And once you begin to see the light in that person, the truth in that person, the innocence in that person, that means you're seeing it in yourself. And you can ask the Holy Spirit, you can ask the higher self, you can ask God, what is this critical energy in them masking? What are they really crying out for? I see this negative energy, but what is this person really crying out for? When you see it as a call for help, a call for love, that person is crying out for some form of help, that's when you will feel something that's called compassion. For it will be revealed to you why they are hurting inside. It will be revealed to you why that person is hurting inside so much that they're being the way that's very disturbing. And lo and behold, instead of being reactionary toward that person, you might just find yourself, instead of getting upset with them, you may find yourself for the first time feeling truly compassionate for them, which means you are finally feeling compassion for yourself and finally forgiving yourself. Your choice of words and your own behavior might turn out to be quite different than you could have ever imagined. You may find yourself reacting in a way that's much more loving and compassionate than you could have ever imagined, instead of reacting with anger. For through you will flow exactly what serves that person. If you go through this, what's going to flow through you is exactly what serves that person. If you will do this process that I just described. Mighty companions, this was a very powerful section that we covered that is very, very practical. I'm Earl Purdy. I'm a full-time teacher, and my teaching ministry is done on a donation basis. If you like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. Purdy, earlpurdy.com. And you can also send any financial expressions of appreciation that you would like to send through Venmo or any of those or other type of apps. My email is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. That's my email address. I'm available for one-on-one healing sessions called Clarity Sessions. And I also use my knowledge of astrology and numerology for those who are open to it. And my over 40 years of teaching and sharing metaphysical truth principles. If you're ready and you're sincere and it's some things you know you want to let go of once and for all, or just get some insight about how you can best use this time, I'm available through my Clarity Sessions. Just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and go to the Clarity Sessions page, and you can book a session with me, whether you're local or long distance. I do phone sessions, and we can talk no matter where you are. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do Hardcore Course in Miracles at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And on Sundays, I do A Course in Miracles at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live, and also over in person and over Facebook Live. You can watch it on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. The Earl Purdy page on Facebook. And on Tuesday nights, we do the Way of Mastery, the Way of the Heart. And Spirit wanted us to really, really use this section on Forgiveness Heals. And it's very, very powerful. And so we're going to do the healing exercise. I'm going to remind you of the healing exercise one more time. I want you to think about something that disturbs you or somebody that disturbed you. Okay? And then I want you to tell yourself this. Let's do it one more time. I am the source of my experience. So what I want you to do is let me talk to you. You are the source of your experience. Let yourself hear me. You are the source of your experience. You are feeling disturbed. You are feeling disturbed. What is it in you that needs to be healed? You are feeling disturbed. If you're feeling disturbed, ask yourself, what is it in me that needs to be healed? Notice it's not saying ask yourself necessarily what needs to be healed in that other person. We were told that the mere fact that the other person is upsetting me, whatever is upsetting me about that other person, that's something that is unforgiven in myself. So they have made me aware of something that needs to be healed within myself, because I am the source of my experience. You are not the source of my experience. I am the source of my experience. And right now I'm feeling disturbed. So what is it in me that needs to be healed? Then you begin to breathe deeply and breathe with a rhythm and breathe deeply. Let your body, what? Let your body soften and relax and ask, what is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it within this person's energy that is really causing my reaction? What is it that's going on in this other person that's really causing my reaction? Ask yourself, what is it in this other person? What is it in their energy that's really causing me to have the reaction that I'm having right now? And you'll see it right away. It'll be whatever you're judging them as being or doing. And so you will say, oh, I see this person as being very selfish. And being selfish pushes my buttons. And it just looks like they're very inconsiderate and selfish, for example. And then say, oh, being inconsiderate and selfish, that pushes my buttons. So when you find out what about that other person is pushing your buttons, then you ask yourself, when have I done this to another? When have I done that to another? Whatever is upsetting me about the other person, I need to ask myself, when have I done that? When have I expressed myself that way? When have I done exactly what I'm accusing this other person of doing? When have I done this? When have I been angry? When have I had murderous thoughts? When is it that I've wanted to attack? When have I felt depressed? When have I ever felt selfish? So, when have I done that to another person? It looks like they were rude to me. When have I been rude to somebody? Ask yourself, where have I been that way with others? Even if you don't think you've ever been that way, still say, when have I done that to another? Where have I been critical of others? Then you go, well, I'm being critical because they're being critical. I'm having a negative reaction because I see them as having a negative reaction. And if you remember when you were the one that's been negative, then let that memory come back. Keep on breathing and relax and look back when you have done that yourself. Look back at it. Look at that energy, whether that energy was anger or criticism or jealous or whatever that negative energy or what you call that negative energy was. Then you're going to honor your feelings, all of your feelings. And then you even love yourself. Even if you've had that negative, so-called negative feeling, you want to love yourself because it's energy that you've given out at some point that's coming back to you to be transformed. So what do? When your own energy is coming back to you through what seems to be an outside situation or person, just stay with it. Stay with it. Look at it. Look at it and say, I've been that way in the past. I've been that way in the past. I know that energy. I know that energy well. I've been that way in the past. Then look at that scene in your memory when maybe you've done the same thing that you're getting upset with the other person about. Then I want you to look at it. And I want you to look at it how? I want you to look at it with deep honesty and sincerity and say this to yourself. Yeshua Light, say this to yourself. I forgive me for being this way. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. I forgive me for being that way in the past. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. I forgive me for being this way in the past. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. This is what you do. Use this exercise. I choose to teach only love. I choose to teach only love. Let's go out on that. I choose to teach only love. I choose to teach only love. You choose to teach only love. You choose to teach only love. We choose to teach only love. We choose to teach only love. Come on, mighty companions. We choose to teach only love. We choose to teach only love. I choose to teach only love. I choose to teach only love. I choose to teach only love. You choose to teach only love. You choose to teach only love. We choose to teach. Thank you for saying that in the comments. We choose to teach only love. We choose to teach only love. We are waking up. We are the mighty companions. We want to forgive, which is to release the past and gone. That is forgiveness, to release the past and let it go. It's time to release what's gone and let it go. Whatever upsets you in someone else, whatever disturbs you about someone else is something that has not been forgiven and released in yourself. Whatever upsets you about anyone else is something you have not released in yourself. It is something you have done in your past, and it is returning to you to be transformed, to be blessed, to be released. So you say to yourself, I forgive me for being critical. I forgive my judgment of myself. I choose to teach only love. Mighty companions, again, we've had a sacred, holy time together. And I love you, and I appreciate you. You are my saviors. We are one mind. Our minds are joined, and you're juicy, and you're cute, and I love and appreciate you. Mighty companions, may this course be with you. I'll see you next time. And please share the video. Mwah.